I'm real excited about this campaign. There's an energy that you can feel out there. I think you heard it from Jim Green tonight. And I want to say that after tonight, when all our voting and balloting is done, we got to go. We hit the streets. We're going to get our material out, and we are going to represent the people of the city of Vancouver.
For Libby Davies, politics and leftist social activism has always been a family affair. Her mother was a community worker. Her father helped found the Downtown East Side Residents Association. After graduating from Point Grey High School, Davies also joined the family firm, working for DERA. Then at age 23, she ran for elected office. She was defeated in her first 2 attempts to win a seat on Vancouver City Council. Then in 1980, she ran for Vancouver Parks Board and won. In the next election, she tried for Vancouver City Council again and was elected. In the 1980s heyday of COPE-influenced Vancouver city politics, Davies became known as an intelligent, well-informed, hard worker, a champion of the underprivileged who also had a sense of humor. By the end of her second term, she was touted as the heir apparent to Harry Rankin's leadership of COPE. By this time, she had married COPE Alderman Bruce Erickson and had a son, Leaf.
So you've got to have 5 names on your ballot or your ballot is spoiled. Once again, the candidates, I don't know if we need to write them down. They're all names very well known to all of us. They're all written down, okay, already done. So what needs to be done then is to, if people can distribute the, if you spell Erickson with an O, your ballot's spoiled and he loses that no, actually. As long as it's decipherable, it will do.
After topping aldermanic polls in the 1991 elections, Davies ran in the mayoralty race in '93. She and most of her COPE colleagues were defeated. The rout revealed deep divisions, which had been festering within COPE for some time, exposing a rift between Davies and Rankin over the direction the party was taking. Recently, Davies was elected president of COPE during a rancorous general meeting. But Davies' greatest challenge now is to heal the wounds and divisions within her political party, and then to resurrect not only COPE, but also her own political career.
Former Alderman Libby Davies became a proud mom, and folding the diapers is the proud father, Alderman Bruce Erickson. And special diapers they were, designed with the faces of political foes, including Mayor Volrich and Alderman Bernice Gerard, George Puel, and Bill Vanderzam.
In the 1980s, when Vancouver was a nuclear weapons-free zone, our neighbors to the south used to send their warships here and park them in English Bay, just to be sure we knew who was boss. Libby, then on city council, was undeterred. In 1989, she took part in a unique protest against the USS Independence, an American warship with nearly 100 nuclear warheads aboard.
Greenpeace ferries the protesters out to the USS Independence.
We ask you to leave our harbor right now. We're not against Americans. We're against the nuclear bombs that you bring into our harbor.
Instead of buzzing the vessel with Zodiacs, these protesters take to the water in a protest swim around the 1,000-foot-long ship, white peace balloons bobbing alongside of them.
Vancouver is a nuclear weapons-free zone. You have nuclear bombs on board. We ask you to leave our harbor right now.
In the orange cap is Vancouver Alderman Libby Davies.
This kind of action, along with all the other actions that take place around the world, help change the attitudes of political leaders, and that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's how disarmament has begun.
But we have a glowing dream of how fair this world would seem.
On a sunny Sunday afternoon, some 700 people packed the Maritime Labour Centre in Vancouver. They're here to celebrate the life of a former logger, iron worker, mariner, and community activist whose work touched virtually all their lives.
The stereotype about Bruce was so strong as this rough, tough, guy from Skid Row, Main and Hastings guy. And he was a tough person, but he also had a very sensitive side, a very gentle side. I mean, I don't think anyone could have been a better parent. He was an amazing parent to Leaf.
Great to be here in another campaign with such a wonderful candidate as Libby Davies. And there's no question that we have a challenge ahead of us, and there's no question if I look around the crowd today and see all the people with renewed energy.
Some stuff in it. You go in there and you just go right up the stairs.
And then go in the front, or do you go around the side? It's a day of ceremony and tradition and the beginning of something new. So I was just sort of thinking back to when I first got elected to City Council in 1982, and I was sort of excited about it. It was a day to remember, and I think I have the same feeling about today as well.
If Bruce were here, what would he have to say?
Well, I think he'd be giving me all kinds of ideas about what I got to raise on the first day, the second day, and on and on. It's it's really it's very hard emotionally, because I very much feel his spirit here, with me. So I just like to keep busy, and doing my political work is really important, because I feel like I'm carrying on what I learned from Bruce, and I've learned from many people, but most importantly from Bruce. So I wish he was here.
A member of Canada's Parliament led this group that believes if Iraq has to open its weapon sites to inspectors, the U.S. should do the same.
All right, we're going to bring on now Libby Davies, who is an MP for Vancouver East. I understand that you have a different take on this. You were seeking out weapons of mass destruction, but not in the Middle East.
I led a delegation of citizens. It was called the Citizens Weapons Inspection Team. And we went down the I-5 to Seattle. We met with local peace activists. And then we headed towards Bangor, Washington, which is, of course, the huge naval submarine base where we believe there are something like 1,600 nuclear weapons stockpiled on that base.
Rafe, as we know, the world is now poised on the brink of yet another military conflict around the issue of weapons inspection and weapons of mass destruction. And we are really here today to make the point that there are governments around the globe that also hold stockpiles of weapons of mass destruction. And what we want to do is call on our Canadian government to lead the way to say that all weapons of mass destruction must be abolished, whether it's in Washington, whether it's in Iraq, whether it's in Europe, and that our Canadian government should be leading the way. Well, can you tell us why we had a confirmation yesterday that we would be able to visit the site? That was yesterday. What has changed in the meantime that now somehow the invitation is being withdrawn?
Well, I know that Admiral Center communicated with you in good faith, and they came to the conclusion that it really wasn't the right decision.
Are there weapons of mass destruction behind these gates?
Well, it's the Navy's policy to neither deny nor confirm the presence of the weapons.
They're not going to let us in, but it certainly doesn't deter us in wanting to bring this forward and encourage citizens to take on this responsibility and role that we have to make our governments accountable for what they do.